Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited you could join us for today's special presentation hosted by Grace Hill. As you're joining, drop us a note in the chat with where you're tuning in from. As you can see today, we are going to have some St. Patty's Day fun as we take a closer look at how our most successful customers use training and policies together to reach their employee and risk mitigation goals. We will also be giving away 3 $50 Amazon gift cards during today's session. Now, you must be present to win, so stay tuned to see if today is your lucky day. As always, we invite you to send your questions through the Q&A box, and our panelists will answer them at the end of the presentation. Next, I am pleased to introduce today's speakers. The first is Amy Cortez, Vice President of Sales here at Grace Hill. Amy is an experienced sales and operations leader with over 29 years of service in various roles, including Senior Vice President, Division Leader, and Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Amy is passionate about understanding her customers' needs and uses her business knowledge to help guide them to a solution that can make a real impact on their business. Next, we have Jay Thompson, Senior Sales Engineer here at Grace Hill. Having served as both a regional property manager for a national brand and also an account manager for Grace Hill's strategic accounts, Jay knows what it takes to elevate property performance and reduce operating risk in multifamily. He now leads a team of multifamily sales engineers that focus on delivering the real impact of Grace Hill's suite of solutions. Welcome to you both.
Thank you so much, Kayla. And I cannot take myself seriously in these glasses, so I am gonna have to take these off. But I wanted to support our theme today. So thanks everyone for taking time out of your busy days to join our webinar. We are so grateful that you are here. We really hope that you walk away today with some knowledge about our topic, and as Kayla said, possibly a little richer by winning a gift card. So before Jay jumps in, I want to spend just a few minutes discussing the Grace Hill cycle of improvement. No, this is not a slide to sell you some products, although you can gain from this slide what our products are, but it really represents how all of our products combined give you the ability to understand your residents and their opinions of how you are doing. Now, sometimes it's hard to hear the negative things about what our residents say about us, but we should always be encouraging our residents and our employees to share the good and the bad. So I'm going to start at the bottom half of the circle. If you look at this, you are collecting feedback from your residents through our survey, which is that bottom left right there. And our survey touches every point of their experience, whether it's prospect or move-in or pre-renewal. Or if you collect the feedback during mystery shopping, which is shown on that right-hand side there. In addition, the third way is if you collect reviews that are happening on your social media, which is really that bottom middle one called Reputation Builder. With those three, it usually kind of gives you a clear direction on what's working really good and maybe what's not so good, but more importantly, where you need to spend your time training and developing a policy or, a process. This is where we're going to spend now our time today as Jay dives into the power of using the top half of it, which is policy management through Policy Partner and the learning management through the vision. Together, that really helps you peak performance on your side. So this is really the path with those two of what you do after you find the gaps in your current solution. So that kind of brings that full circle there. So Jay, let's dive in. We've got people that are on the webinar today that potentially have vision, but they don't have policy. So let's start there. What's the gap that they might be experiencing with using just one of the products, but not the other?
Sure. So let's focus on that, like you said, that maybe they have vision today, but you don't have policy.
Your slides are, oh, I'm sorry, you are in your demo. Good.
Yes. So yeah, let's talk, the first thing I would say, and it's something that we hear constantly when we're on the phone, with clients or with prospects, is really this need right now in multifamily to reduce their tech stack. I read an average that multifamily professionals sometimes have 20 to 30 passwords to run their day-to-day operations. So if we can reduce that tech stack, and Amy, it's funny, just so you all know, Amy and I work pretty closely together, and we were talking the other day that she was running out for dinner to Five Guys burgers because everybody at her household loves Five Guys, but they like McDonald's fries. And I was like, that doesn't seem very efficient. And she was like, nope, I'm kind of running all over the place. But think about that analogy when you're thinking about reducing that tech stack and having that disjointed. Are we really efficient? And what's the quality like between those different tech stacks? It can really change, right? So the reason why I bring that up, and we're in a vision site now. So if you have our learning management, I bring that into play because actually within our library, when you are a policy partner client as well, there's a full integration within the LMS. So they're able to join it directly from there. And then we've also got, for ease of maybe somebody that wants it in a new tab, we've also got it via the apps integration as well. But when we look at policies, really, policies are all about tell me, right? So it's tell me what to do. We're going to pivot here in a minute to the LMS, which is really show me, but tell me, right? And the first thing that I think about is each one of our, guests on the call today and on the webinar, you each have your own standards, and it is vital that you communicate your standards to help drive your property performance. I've worked, as we all probably have in our multifamily careers, for different organizations and different management groups, and each one have their own standards, and it's vital. It sets your company expectations. So for example, when you look at our leasing and marketing manual, if we get, say, into a guest card here, you're going to notice we're quickly going to set what the purpose, tell the why behind it. I will tell you, people love that. Start with it, but also what's the standard and the procedure that is specific to your company, not somebody else's. So that's number one. Second of all, we really talk about, when you're missing policy, is what is that risk mitigation? So we do know that if you are ever taken to a legal matter, the first thing the judge is going to ask is, did you have a policy, and what was the policy at the type of the incident? So we track all of your versions within the system. So you can see quickly if I get a call from legal and they were like, we had an incident on November the 2nd of 2020, and we need to know what your policy was. I can go in and view that policy at the time, provide it to my legal staff so that they can continue going on. So that's just one great way, but in addition to that, when we talk about, that risk mitigation, we also talk about the ability to edit on the fly, right? So your policies are going to change, and it's super simple to be able to do that. We can come in here and literally edit on the fly. We're going to stay tuned. We're going to talk a little bit more about how you can edit more collaboratively, but we can easily come and edit on the fly, save that out, and now it's changed to the end user. The other thing I would say is instant access for your team. So this is a mobile friendly as well. So your maintenance teams that are out on site don't necessarily have a computer that they're coming back to. They can still grab these and get them. And really, finally, when we talk about it, it prevents inconsistency and inefficiency, which has major risk in and of itself when we talk about that. Finally, one of the things that I would say too is this product is really meant to scale with your sector and your organizational size. So for example, if you're one of our smaller operators, a boutique operator, we have an essentials manual. And the essentials manual really is a manual of our most commonly referenced policies. Maybe that's the right fit for you, right? But in addition, we have things, and you'll see them here, such as student housing, tax credit compliance, construction. So all of those to be able to fit your needs as well. The other thing, Amy, when we're talking about, I have vision, but I don't have, when we came in here and when I made that change, let's say right here to our guest card, right? I will tell you, I'm going to add, just make another quick change in here, just so we can demonstrate this. I can save it with a notification, right? So I can save it, have it emailed to me, we can blast it out. But if it's something that has major risk around it, it could be a discrimination policy, or maybe it's a fair housing, This is a great tool, don't get me wrong, but let's take it one step further and let's have an acknowledgement so that Kayla, we have reference of Kayla saying, I have received this policy. I've read it. I acknowledge that. That's going to go a lot further again if we've got any kind of, risk or legal issues. And in our vision platform, when these two marry so seamlessly together, you can build those acknowledgements out as well, which are wonderful. The other thing that I would say too, Amy, as we go on about where the gap is, if you just have vision and not policy partner, is the fact that we really are specific to multifamily. Super proud of the presence that we have had, continue to have within that. So you will notice there are a full library of standard policies. I'll just peek into one. We're in a demo environment here, so please know as you see things like edit and things like that, that's because we're in an admin. And these would be, well, let me actually, we'll start here, but this is just a quick sample of just what our leasing and marketing SOPs, the list that we have there. So I'm not going to peek into every one of those, but I will tell you, please don't hesitate at the end. You have a chance to drop in a chat for some more information, and we'd love to be able to touch base with you outside of here as well. And then as we and I know I'm throwing a lot at you, Amy, here, but as we continue on, I think and I actually rolled out Policy Partner with a company that I was with. And we did it because our policies were housed in one of two ways. It was with the senior manager that we called up and said, how do you do this? Or it was in a binder. Both of those have significant risk, right? Binders aren't easily accessible. They're not at your tip. And while I trust that senior manager, that may not be consistent across an organization. So that really helps as well. But also, again, ease of access for your teams. Maybe your teams do need to come in here and say, I just need to find guest card. There's a robust search engine that they can get in here, find what they need as well. And then as we kind of wrap up this part, what I would say is the value of partnering with Grace Hill and Policy Partner is we're going to take that heavy lift of creating and managing policies. So I had an opportunity to talk with our senior content manager for Policy Partner, Angie Stevens. So she's on the phone. Thanks for all of your wisdom. We were talking, she said, on average, it takes her 6 hours to write a policy if there's minimal research. There's 12 hours if it's significant, right? So I went and actually counted the number of policies we have in leasing and marketing. If we just took the minimum, that's 420 hours or 10 and a half weeks of just doing nothing but policies. And listen, again, I've been in your shoes. You don't have 10 and a half weeks of uninterrupted time. You spin a lot of other plates. Our team doesn't. They're also professional editors. If you've not already figured out from just this little bit with me, I can tend to be a bit verbose. Our editors and our content editors do a really great job of paring down the content so it's concise and meaningful. The other thing too that they're going to get, Amy, is the ability to really stay up to date on all of those changes. So Angie, for example, is constantly scouring. And while we do focus mostly on federal type of training, we do focus on some state. For example, California privacy. I'm in Florida, so we have a human trafficking policy that we release for our partners because of the fact that Florida now has a policy regarding that. Sexual harassment, we have very state specific. Illinois comes to mind as they have made sweeping changes across their sexual harassment. And I did peek behind the curtain, so sorry to my content people on, but I can tell you just this year alone, they're monitoring 8 potential changes that have impact for our industry just alone. And they are watching how it's moving through courts or the legislative system. And then last thing I want to show, so we've shown the search engine, we've showed the ability to edit on the fly and also that versioning. But sometimes you need to make some edits that are going to take a little bit longer, right? You need to involve some SMEs in it. The good news is we do have collaboration tools. So you'll see here, we're in identification requirements. I've started a collaboration with myself and one of my colleagues, Chris Vaughn. So thanks, Chris, again for the assist here. And maybe we're the two SMEs in here, right? So you need to get a group of people. And what I will tell you is you can lock that collaboration down to a specific manual, even to a policy. So if you want to bring in a trusted maintenance tech or supervisor or community manager, you don't necessarily want them to have access to your entire platform. You just need them to have access to this, right? But we'll come in, and what you'll notice is when we start that collaboration, so I was version 1.1. I added this test 1. Chris was version 1.2. She added test 2. We've actually got some dialogue going in here as well. It's only available for the collaborators to see. The other thing I want to say is this policy is uninterrupted on the other side. So your end users are seeing your current policy. There's no disruption to your business ops in terms of that. But let's say, because I just started a third one, I want to come in here. We're going to add test 3. Here, I'm going to save that out, right? But now we've gone through, we've looked through all this stuff, and I've read it, and we've realized Chris's version is the best. So we're just going to come back into her version here, and we're going to publish it out. And now it's live to your end users. Again, you've got the ability to send that out, or stay tuned, we'll take it one step further, and we'll actually send an acknowledgement. So last thing, partnership, we've talked about it, but I do want you to really know what that means. So we talked about the lift and what we do, but we have over 745 policies. We added just last year alone 58 forms and 43 policies, but I really even want to bring it more meaningful, COVID-19. Unprecedented times, nobody knew about it. We released mini manuals with 37 different policies, literally talking about testing, working remotely, reopening your spaces. Amy and I were talking, she was working in a different sector then, and she was like, Jay, I was having to try to stay up to date on all that. She was like, it was a daunting task just to figure out, even state by state, how we were going to do that. So again, I know I've thrown a lot at everybody, Amy, but I think it really comes down to the ability to have your teams have meaningful, impactful, instant access to your voice and your standards, and then a true partner that helps to mitigate risk and really house your back ultimately. So
Awesome.
with
That
go
was
ahead.
awesome, Jay. And I think I love the analogy that you had, which was the 5 guys and the fries. So what I really heard you say is that I could get both of them at one place.
There you go. Absolutely. One-stop shopping.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right, Kayla. Well, I think we have our first giveaway.
Love it. All right, folks, I'm so excited to give away our first $50 Amazon gift card of the hour. Today, I'm using a random picker from randomlist.com. So even if you joined a little bit late, don't worry, you're still in this drawing, and I will continue to update that list in between drawings so you have your best chance to win. Okay, are you ready? Our first winner. Congratulations, Linus C. Linus C. I will contact you after the presentation to get details on where to send your prize. Amy, back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kayla, and congratulations. I hope you have fun spending that gift card. So Jay did an outstanding job of just talking about, hey, right now, if you've got vision, you're training your team, but maybe the gap that you're having is telling them how to do that and to get an acknowledgement on that. And, I was joking about his analogy, but it really is true that if everything is available in one place, and I think the thing that really got me is when he was talking about all those username and passwords that you don't have to remember. Wow, that's power in itself. So great job explaining that. But now let's talk about the flip side of that, which is, Jay, I know we have individuals on the webinar today that have policy. So everything you just shared with them, they were like, yeah, I got that. Maybe you showed them some new way to do it, but maybe they don't have vision. So what gap are they experiencing today?
Yeah, 100%. That is a great question. So let's look at the vision side, right? So maybe today you are a policy partner client, you don't have vision, or to Amy's point, maybe you actually are going to have both of these. So still stick with us. I'm hoping that you're going to see a little bit about how we can marry those policies and acknowledgements as well, right? But I would be remiss if we didn't say, if you are a policy partner only client today without vision, I'm going to be remiss if I don't just tell you a couple of those gaps that could be filled. Number one is the fact that we have a robust library. We are super proud of our content here. 600 titles that are really meant to support the multifamily industry. So I can tell you, you can head over to catalog.gracehill.com and you can quickly at a glance see all of our titles. You can even get in and see if they're supervisor or associate level. Are they Spanish titles? Do they have a translation tool? It's a great tool. So I have a feeling that Amy's probably going to drop that in the chat or somebody will, but catalog@gracehill.com is a phenomenal resource for you all. And again, those are available. You're not going to assign all 600 titles. That's not going to be wonderful, right? But I can tell you, I remember when I was on site, I had an issue with hoarding. We're not going to probably assign that title out, but you can come in and see if we've got a resource available for it, right? And again, you know, when we talk about our content too, it's content really for the life of your employees. It's not just that new employee. So for example, if we look right here at our learning paths, I just wanted to show you, because I'm super proud of our content team here, is we break things down into foundational knowledge. So right now, this would be our leadership skills. We have a reinforcement. That could be this leadership booster, but then extension. Then we've got reinforcement, and the reinforcement are super cool. This one is actually, I'm making my way through I guess it would be a fantasy type of land, if you will. And I'm basically trying to go out and get gems, and I'm collecting the gems. So we're hitting quest on. So it's a great way just to recall information, and we reinforce it. So again, just to show kind of the way that our content catalog supports your employees' life or tenure with your organization. The other thing I would say, and then I promise we'll dive directly into policy, is this intuitive interface, right? So really, we've designed Vision to give you the tools to get your teams back to their day-to-day operations. That can be as simple as our to-do page. Just tell me what I need to do next. It could be as simple as this calendar subscription as well, that you can overlay into Google or Outlook that tells them when they have something that's due, right? Or it's even the ability, if we come into one of these classes, I can actually start and schedule additional time on my calendar. So I don't have to worry about taking the full course. I can just come in here and schedule out my next time in here. So again, those are some of just part of the gaps, but let's talk about how that really then integrates. You've got that policy and you need to mitigate some of that. So as we do that, the biggest thing is we offer deep linking. So I'm actually going to go back in to Policy Partner for just a minute, because I want to show you what that means. And that means, for example, if we are looking in our leasing and marketing and we're looking at safety while touring, sometimes safety while touring means golf carts. Your garden style community, you got to drive golf carts around, right? There's definite risk there involved. So I'm going to show you what it looks like for an end user. So for example, we've linked out our fundamentals of golf cart. That deep linking drops them directly into the course. They're not going back into Vision and going to have to search for it. You're giving them the tools right there within the policy to, again, you've told them, now show me what you mean in addition to that as well. And then, of course, the big thing we've talked about is the ability to really come in and create those acknowledgements and be able to track those as well, right? So I'm going to head over to our admin console really quickly and just show you how easy that is. So now we're on the back end of the console. And if we go into courses, I've teed up this one called a safety while touring policy. And so we're going to come into this version. We're going to go to a course builder. And it's literally drag and drop from here. You'll notice in here, all I did was go grab our policy link and threw it in here. It's dynamically linked. So if you change a policy within Policy Partner, it automatically now is going to link to this course. So your learners are always going to get your most up to date. Depending on the platform you have, you also have the ability to pull in certain components of Grace Hill's content. We don't want you to have to go develop your own training. Leave it to us. We've curated thousands of pieces of content. Just come in here and grab what you really need, and then you can supplement it on your own. So I've actually thrown one of our short courses in here for that. And then finally, acknowledgement. So we do have a repository on the back end, and we're going to come in here. And we're just going to search for that policy acknowledgement. And now I've added that acknowledgement in that easily, and I can deploy this course. And what that basically looks like, I come back into the Learning Center here. This is that course, right? So if you quickly want to see what it looks like, we've set it up with kind of an overview. It's probably going to take about 20 minutes with that course that I added. If it's a simple acknowledgement, it's probably just 5 minutes, right? We come in and I'll go ahead and hit that get started button. Or my computer's going to be slow. So there you go. The policy then, this is the policy we've linked out. Again, remember, I'm an admin, so I'm seeing a little different functionality than your end users will see. We'll come in. This is that Grace Hill short course that I've added, again, just to reinforce the show me what to do. And then finally, here's that acknowledgement, right? So what I would tell you is check with your legal counsel. However, our legal counsel has said that this verbiage right here, that because your people have to sign in to the side, whether that's through an SSO integration or whatever, they acknowledge Amy has to sign into an environment saying, I am Amy Brown Cortez, and this is me. She gets in. So this does suffice as an e-signature and it meets the requirements, right? So I would come in here, I'd hit true, I'd submit that. I set my grade at 100%. This is a pass-fail type of situation in that regard. And I'm done, right? And then the good news is, again, you can absolutely, you're going to see it on your transcripts. I got a 95 because I did a typo on the back end with us in terms of that. But with that said, then you've got full reporting capability. So now you can see Jay Thompson. I've actually got this policy acknowledgement. I just finished it, but at the time when I pulled this report, it was due today and it's in progress. So you can see if somebody has started it in progress or if they have also completed it, and you'll be able to see if it's past due, et cetera. So I'm sure that we are happy. Again, if you are a current policy partner and Vision, reach out to your account managers. We're happy to give you that e-signature type of verbiage that our legal has vetted. Again, we're always going to recommend, though, please go vet it with your own as well. So yeah, I think, again, Amy, as we kind of wrap up this section, just know that the gap is that number one, you don't have a learning management system. It's the ability to show your employees. I make the analogy, Amy knows this, I'm a former college athlete. Playbooks are only so good. If playbooks aren't practiced and the drills aren't run, doesn't serve me any good. And the time to do that is not at game time. It's well in advance. So that gap is really the ability to show them what to do. But now you've got an increased level of risk mitigation by being able to create these and track these on the back end as well. So with that, I think, Kayla, it is time for another giveaway.
Very good. I love those analogies, Jay. All right, who's feeling lucky? It's time for our second giveaway. And, we're giving away, again, a $50 Amazon gift card using randomlist.com. And the winner of that second gift card of the hour is Ayla S. Congratulations, Ayla. We will have one more winner coming up shortly, so stay tuned.
Oh, I think Amy unfortunately had some technical difficulties. So I can tell you though, Kayla, we've had a chance to talk. And so I know what her next question is going to be, and we can go ahead and roll with it. But, she had asked, she was like, of course, there are inevitably probably people here with us today that you just don't have either one of these platforms, right? And I hope today, if you are one of those people, even as we've gone through them individually, you've seen what that means, right? But just wanted to provide you with some major statistics on the power of what our software does. So first of all, when it comes to policies, did you know that 80% of multifamily companies say that when they look at integrating policies and trainings, that they have better implementation, increased efficiency, and reduce risk overall. And when we talk about that efficiency piece, which I think is super important, inefficiency, one statistic shows that it costs a company almost 20 to 30% of its yearly revenue because of inefficient operations. And listen, at the end of the day, we're all here to get a better NOI, right? So if we can help with that. And then the other one that I think really was powerful, again, maybe you have policies today. You're like, I'm good. I don't have policy partner, but I've got policies. They're on a SharePoint environment, maybe whatever it is. I read an interesting study that 69% of executives are not confident that their current policies can actually meet their future needs. And that's scary, right? Because you need a partner that's going to scale and grow with you in this ever-changing landscape. When we pivot again, kind of Kayla, to this back end and what the importance of an LMS looks like, 94% of people have said that they would stay with their current company if they invested in learning. And at the end of the day, the Great Resignation hasn't really changed. We're seeing turnover. It may have cooled some, but it's there. And so 94% of people say that would stay. Those that leave, it could estimated that replacing that employee could take as much as 30 to 50% of an employee's annual salary when we're talking about, job placement, having to go through drug screening, all of those type of things. But finally, and I think this is one of the most impactful, if you don't have one of our solutions today, when it comes to our LMS, our internal study that we did with a large client of ours, when the training is fully utilized, their overall community satisfaction increased by 14%, management by 15%. If I've got any third-party managers in here, you know how impactful that is. It's an important thing that your management satisfaction is high. Maintenance satisfaction rose by almost 11, and renewal intention almost by 11% as well. So again, at the end of the day, when we want to support your teams for culture, the fact is there's a tangible NOI, and then the last two things I would say about why it's important if you don't have either one is, Amy showed that solution, that loop that we have. My question is, how are you supporting that feedback, right? So it's vital to do that. And last I would say is, and I am partial, obviously, but you're supported by the best when you implement these. So, but you're also in well-trusted companies. So 6 out of the 10 top NMHC management companies actually use Policy Partner. We support over 3 million units just in Policy Partner alone across the US, the UK, Canada. I believe our vision almost has a reach of like 7.5 million units. The fact is you're in trusted company, and they're the comp sets that you're also competing against, right? So let's level that playing field and make sure that we're getting you the best return on investment. Amy, you're on mute there.
Thank you so much, Jay. And I apologize, I lost internet connection there for a moment. So I hope you guys went on with the demo. And I'm just going to say that, as I look at all the value props that these solutions bring, sometimes I wonder, why doesn't everybody in multifamily have vision and policy, right? But we know that budget is a critical part of this. So can you maybe share some creative ways that our current customers have found a way to just squeeze this into their budget if they didn't do it at the beginning of the year?
100%. I think it's a great question. Again, I've been in y'all's shoes, right? I was a regional. I've written budgets before, and I will tell you, yes, 100%. You're even going to experience it this year. You are going to have a cost arise that you were not planning for. It wasn't budgeted. The first thing I would say, and I know many of our people would certainly do this, particularly like if they're having to go to an owner, or an investorship, something like that. We do know as simple as one fair housing claim. I just read a statistic that one that was recent just paid out like $175,000 in their one claim. So it's a 6-figure. I guarantee you we can save you money over that 6 figures. We're going to be cheaper than that for you. But the other thing, Amy, when I went through, the way I would have tackled it is, if I can see the value of where I may be able to have positive variances in other line items of my budget, I can squeeze it in. If I knew that it was going to affect that, I can explain the variance knowing that I was able, to say, but look at the positive variance. And as I went through just some of the budgets I created, some of those would be like a decreased loss to lease. Hopefully we're really selling value. Overall increase in rental income, because again, we're hoping your leasing staff is going to be trained. We're going to see that increase in satisfaction and community satisfaction. Decrease in vacancy loss, obviously. Increase in ancillary. We can't forget that. You have more people applying, you're going to get more app and admin fees and pet fees. And then two, really when we look at our maintenance side, we've got a full partnership with HD Supply. Stay tuned. I'm going to spill the beans here. Hope I don't get in trouble. Interplay partnership is right around the corner as well. All that on your maintenance side helps you to decrease your turn costs. Even things like the HD partnership with conservation, we can decrease the utilities. And then finally, of course, and we've talked about it with statistics as well, if we can talk about your employee side as well, those kind of placement fees and all that, that's another line item. So that's where I would challenge if budget is in the way, is let's really come together and figure out where you're going to see positive variances in other line items that it's going to maybe explain for, an unallocated expense that needs to take place in 2023.
Awesome. That is very, very helpful, Jay. Thank you so very much. So Kayla, I think we are turning it over to Q&A. So
All right, it's that time. All right, so for our Q&A portion of the program, we did have several questions come in while Jay was presenting, so we'll jump right in. Okay, so the first one, do you have to purchase both of these solutions at once together?
Amy, you want to take that one, or I'm happy to.
absolutely. Yeah, I can take that one. So no, as we kind of went through the webinar today, we know that some of you on the call already have one, so you can easily add the other. But if you have neither, we absolutely have specials and promotions if you want to buy them together. So this really is a solution to help you support your timing of when you want to go live with these, but you don't have to purchase them separate. But I think through the webinar today, Jay talked a lot about why they are so important together, and how they can be so powerful together.
Very good. And what does implementation look like for these systems?
Yeah, so I am happy to take that. But so implementation on the policy partner side, and what we will do is we will strategically work with you to figure out which one we're going to roll out first based on the needs of your company. Then what I want to do is I want to be cognizant of the lift on your team so we can stagger some of those implementations. But for policies, for example, it is 90 days from your customization meeting. And I can tell you, I, as a former user, said, no way, no how, it is not going to happen. I promise they'll make it happen. And it's fairly, don't get me wrong, it's a lift, but it's as simple as I need a point person to give me your current policies. I then need a team, you decide who that is, that needs one manual per day. So your maintenance team doesn't, maintenance SMEs or subject matter experts do not need to be there for, 4 days. I just need them one day. And then I need a team that can kind of answer some questions for us. But 90 days from that customization, and we can fully launch. On the vision side, as little as 30 days, remember, it's a scalable solution. So depending on what your needs are as an organization, as little as 30 days to about 45 days to fully implement that as well and get you up and running. So, they are literally solutions that we can have you out the door by Q2 up and running. So.
Very good. All right, our third question we had come in here. Are we able to sync our calendars if our organization uses an SSO like OKTA?
Yep. Like Okta. So you are,
Okta.
yes. So, and I actually see that one come in from Atlanta, and I know Atlanta well. We've worked together before. And Atlanta, we can certainly get together and talk about what that looks like offline as well. Happy to do that, but 100% we can, because it's basically a subscription overlay that I just need to get onto the back end of your calendars. So your Okta is still going to function as normal. I just need to overlay that. And again, I've got some documentation around that. So happy to help there as well.
Wonderful. All right, last question. How do the two systems work together when onboarding new employees?
I can start with this one, Jay, if you want to
Yep.
add on. Great resignation is what everyone is dealing with right now, which is, employees leaving, going to other jobs, and us as managers onboarding new employees on a regular basis. I started with Grace Hill last April, and when I saw both policy and the LMS system vision, I was like, wow, if I had just had this the last 30 years of my career to onboard new employees. So I think Jay answered that a little bit, which is policy and vision is the show me and tell me. So tell me how to do something, is so critically important when you're onboarding new employees, and then show me how to do it. When that is systematic and not reliant on somebody sitting across from an individual and onboarding, it's so much easier to try to get those new employees up and running very, very quickly. So I think the two together are extremely powerful, but they are also powerful in the individual of the show me and tell me.
Yeah, and I would just add on, Amy, I mean, to that, I think it's also, again, just that ease of access, right? So it's the ability to have policies at your fingertips. It's also the automation that comes with vision. So we showed you how to do the acknowledgement. The fact is, too, those things can literally be part of somebody's learning path. So you don't have to go track down Kayla and say, hey, we got to do an acknowledgement. Let's build it in so it fires from our data fire. And you're able to hold her accountable through that reporting as well. And it's literally automated. You all are busy. I don't need you to have to run back and forth to try to get these things. So.
Absolutely.
All right, Kayla, do we have any more questions?
That's it. That wraps up Q&A. So you know what
All
that
right.
means.
I do. I think we have a giveaway.
It's time to draw the last lucky winner of the hour for our $50 Amazon gift card giveaway. So without further ado, our last winner is Anne-Marie B. Anne-Marie, congratulations.
Woo!
And again, to all of today's gift card winners, I will contact you later today for a good delivery address for your prize. Amy, let's close it out.
Awesome. So as we wrap up the webinar, if you would like someone to follow up with you immediately on any of the products, whether it's one that we talked about or that I discussed in the loop, just put in the chat right now, go Irish. So for those of you who maybe are not a football fan, the Fighting Irish is Notre Dame. And my husband is a huge fan, so I had to do that in support of St. Patrick's Day. So if you want something immediately to be followed up on, just put that in the chat and we absolutely will do that. I will also mention for those basketball players, we have March Madness going on and we do have discounts for products. So March Madness is a great time to buy. Either follow up directly with your sales rep or you can send a message to JRI. The contact information is on the screen right now, and we will make sure we get you in the right direction. So I do want to thank everyone for their engagement. The questions were great, and I know your time is precious, so thanks for joining. We really talked a lot about policy partner and vision, and that show me and tell me. And we all, as leaders, want to grow our people and grow their skills. So we hope you walk away today with just one thing out of this webinar. And we also hope that you will join us again for our next webinar. So if there's any topics that you would like us to have a webinar on, or a product you would like to understand or interested in for a future webinar, just send it in the chat box and we'll definitely take those in consideration. So Kayla, let's just keep that webinar chat open just for a few seconds here so that they can finish hopefully chatting if they're interested in anything.
You bet. All right. Thank you, Amy. So as we close out, I do want to invite you to our upcoming webinar on March 15th, titled Controlling the Uncontrollable, Navigating Conflict with Our Customers. And this is featuring Senior PM National Trainer and Leasing Pro, Walter Songer. So to register for this webinar, please visit our events page at gracehill.com. Well, we had a great time today, and I hope you did too. Congratulations again to all of our lucky winners. And until next time, happy St. Patrick's Day. Goodbye.
Awesome. Thank you.